effective is Luna against the Colossi? Can she solo hard bosses even though she's a support character? Let's get into the build and find out. I will be leaving timestamps at the bottom of this video, so if you want to go see a specific part, that's completely fine, especially if you saw my yesterday video. Most of the stuff is going to be kind of the same, but we're going to add a few more things to it. So starting with the Reactor, we have the Final Masterpiece mounting, which we do have over here, level 1. I did not put this at level 100 because her first ability completely eliminates even the usage of guns, so there's really no point. The only reason I have Python on here is strictly because of base damage to get the Colossus fights going. You know, this is real great, especially against like Devourer or something like that. All the showcases for like the damage and all that stuff for actually fighting the Colossus is going to be at the end. There is going to be 2 showcases against the same Colossus because I did change one mod out from the main one I use for killing Colossi, and the difference in the fights was about 7-8 seconds, somewhere around there. So you can be the judge on which one you want to try and go for if you're trying to really focus on her damage, especially with that new Descendant mod, but for the Reactor. But we also have non-attribute skill power boost ratio and singular skill power boost ratio for our Reactor here. At the very bottom, our rolled stats for this Reactor were additional skill attack when attacking Colossus and singular skill power boost ratio. You may be able to get more damage if you can get it to roll the non-attribute skill power boost ratio, but I'm not sure yet. It is yet to drop for me. It seems like my luck is definitely going the way of additional skill attack and singular, so that's just kind of how it goes for me. For the external components, it did change a little bit from my last Luna video. The first one here, we have the MP recovery out of combat and the maxed HP. Now you could also, I also got this one to drop for me, the MP recovery out of combat, and it was gold for 2.42, but even in purple state, it was doing just fine. It was giving me unlimited MP. I had no issues with it whatsoever while fighting the boss fights. But we definitely want to be using the 4 set of the Slayer Auxiliary for the increase of 26.1% in your skill power. Okay, our other one here, our Slayer Sensor. We got chill resistance and max MP plus 141. That's massive. That changes the numbers drastically. It was like 300 and something, and then, or 300 exactly actually, and then now it's 441. Big difference in using her abilities consistently and just having no worries. Unfortunately though, the memory and the processor can't drop anything MP related, so you may just want to focus on getting defense on these guys, and that'll probably do you best. Another good one to go for if you're really focused on HP is max MP and HP recovery modifier. It'll just casually heal you if you find yourself in a lot of situations where you have low health and there's just no health dropping from enemies whatsoever. This is obviously completely different in the Colossi fight because those fissures, they obviously drop MP and HP pretty often, so you shouldn't have an issue healing yourself if you're really having that much trouble. We're gonna head into the Descendant modules now. We are of course using Noise Surge. Using the skill deals damage to nearby enemies but doesn't buff allies, and grants a stackable buff to Luna that is enhanced with each stack. What this essentially does is it changes all of her abilities here. Instead of giving teammates things, it completely ignores teammates and gives it all to yourself. So you can see at the bottom it gives us increased critical hit rate. This one gives us more damage to our critical hits, and then this one of course increases our skill power modifier to do more damage as we're hitting the notes. We have increased HP for just overall survivability, non-attribute specialist for an increase in skill power by 81.2%, RK concretion, so when using a skill grants 1 stack of RK concretion for 20 seconds, and when using an enhanced skill grants 10 stacks. The max is 30. RK concretion, regardless of number of stacks, reduces your movement speed and firearm attribute attack, and besides non-attribute, all attribute attack minus 22%, and depending on the number of stacks, defense plus 2.1 and MP plus 1.3. This is definitely dedicated to Luna, so I recommend you use this mod if you're definitely going to be fighting some Colossi. But however, when using a roll or grappling hook, all the stacks will be completely removed. You won't just lose a few, you'll lose all of them. So this goes great with just adding like something like Shock Punch, but if you're really one of those guys that loves the multi-maneuvering or the long-range maneuvering, or the other one I think is called mid-air maneuvering, the one where you use the grapple in air, you don't even need a solid object. You definitely want to avoid even dealing with it. But I mean, if you have it and it increases your capacity, I mean, go ahead. Just be cautious of the whole idea of using that grapple hook is definitely going to remove all the stacks that you earned. And sometimes it's completely necessary to use the grappling hook so you can get places, especially because this decreases your movement speed by a lot. You are slowed by a lot because of this. So I only recommend this mod to use against Colossi. Don't even try this in the mobbing build because you're going to be so slow, and we definitely don't want that. We have Spear and Shield right here for an extra increase in skill power, 8.1%. Now, so I saw in a comment in my last Luna video, iron defense being better, because it'll increase her low skill modifiers. But after testing on this build specifically, I saw Spear and Shield was doing 86,000 on its ticks per hit, and the Iron Defense was giving 84,000. So you increase your damage by 2k, so definitely run Spear and Shield. This will give you the maximum damage output that you can possibly do. Next up, we have Multi-Talented. So when using the tech active skill, your skill range and power modifier increases by 15% for 5 seconds. And then when using the singular active skill, all attribute damage plus 30% for 5 seconds. Now I truly don't know how to feel about this mod, because we have the tech skill here. So when you proc it, boom, for Multi-Talented. And then we have these that are singular, so boom, another proc for them. But for the fact that they only last 5 seconds is kind of ridiculous to me. So if we take a look, by the time you activate her tech and then activate her another ability, you already wasted like 2 seconds of the whole timer that increases your damage overall. So I'm a little iffy about this mod, but if you can get them going quick enough, you know, it definitely adds that increase in damage. Now, as I mentioned before, as the showcase for the Colossi fights, I went ahead and tested Multi-Talented out, and then I also put on Dangerous Ambush for when we immobilize the Colossus, and both had a similar time to kill the boss, which is why I'm a little iffy on which mod exactly to use. But we can see the support tech, the arcade tech, and this is an arcade tech, so of course this is going to mess with this one, and you can still use it while having arcade concretion on. It's completely up to you though. If you want to look at the showcase, you can go ahead and then decide for yourself whether you want to invest Multi-Talented or Dangerous Ambush, or completely avoid both of them and move on. We have emergency measures for critical hit rate and critical hit damage. We have skill concentration for just overall increase in critical hit damage. Front lines for more crit hit damage and crit rate chance. Maximize power for an increase in 96.1% in your modifier. Now again, I did see another comment in my last video. If the skill cooldown plus 50% hurts her at all, it does not, because the skill cooldown on the very top underneath on note success is 0 seconds. So even if you had maximized power and maximized skill, both adding another 50% to cooldown, 100% of 0 is 0. So you have no worries at all in maybe thinking that you're going to lose out on cooldown time because you have the maximized mods on. Now, when I did test it using both maximized power and maximized skill, was a better outcome than using non-attribute specialist. You increased your damage by about 800, which is very small, but it is better. So if you wanted to go both maximize mods, you totally could, but it's just not worth it in my opinion, because you would have to change this slot over here to a Xantic to match the maximized skill power mod. Not really worth it in my opinion. And then it takes a Xantic instead of a Malachite, and then it could mess with your other builds if you're working on anything else. And then of course, for just some more non-attribute skill power, 10.2% from non-attribute Sanctium. I really did my best here to just focus mainly on damaging the Colossi. I didn't really try for survivability. I really didn't try for any other stats. I just want to give me the maximum numbers that I can possibly get. Now, if you're looking at this and somewhat not satisfied with the critical hit rate of an increase of 92.3%, the only thing you could do to not sacrifice damage is replace increased HP with skill insight. So you'd have to respec it. You would be getting rid of your HP mod, which could ruin the rest of your builds. So I highly do not recommend that. The skill critical hit rate that she has is already good enough. She starts at a base of 15%. And with the regular mods on it, front lines, emergency measures, we got it up to 28.8%. And if you go ahead and add skill insight, emergency measures, and front lines all together, it does go up to 46.1%. So if you think that increase is definitely worth losing out on an HP mod, then go for it. But I personally don't think that's worth the case. I hope you guys enjoy the showcase on this build. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. I would be happy to test them out for myself and fix everything in the next boss build video. But as of now, I don't really see her as a main for Colossi. You're better off with a different Descendant who's more focused on clearing these bosses, because she's just not it. She was built for support, and that's what you should build her for. You should build her for range mobbing and supporting your teammates to increase their damage. If you're interested in the range mobbing build, let me know in the comments. I'm still working on it. I still want to try and see exactly what we can do. But of course, I'll make an entirely separate video for that, just so we can go through everything and understand it together. My last Luna video is more of a beginner friendly type range mobbing build, so it wasn't yet completed for maximum damage and maximum range, if that is optimal. And of course, for each of the showcases, I'm going to show Multi-Talented and Dangerous Ambush for whichever clip it's actually on, so you guys don't get confused on which one you want to take. At the end of the day, it's all up to you, and this is the build that I came up with. I hope this helps, and subscribe if you're new for more of the first Descendant content. But remember to stay safe, because the world without you is nothing.